about this janky mess. I kind of got ahead of myself. I probably should have recorded it, but I didn't. So there you go. So here's what's going on. I probably pull up a quick video from earlier when I showed you this wall, but we took down the original mounting bracket they had here and obviously put it here, and then decided it was not quite right, but they centered it on the wall in general here, except for the problem is it's not centered on the bed. So we recentered it and we made it considerably higher, right? So maybe that's better. So we put it higher, and you may say that's way too high. And if we were in like a living room or a movie room or that sort of thing, I'd probably agree with you. But we're in bed, or I'm in bed, hopefully not alone. And I don't want to crane my neck and get a kink in my neck just to watch reruns of Law and Order or something. So when they centered it, they put the outlet here. They had this janky wall mess coming out here. And then let me take you into the master closet real quick. And then they pulled it out through here. So they have some kind of IR thing that's going on here. I'm not quite sure what it's doing or whatever, but we're going to pull that out. There's another dangling. I mean, this wasn't even in there. And I don't know if you can see it, but whoever did it took an old work box and then just nibbled out parts of pieces of it. And you have the coax cable here, the HDMI here. But let's get back around and real quick, and I'll show you what they did. So the original coax was here in the floor. So what they did was, check this out. They cut the original coax cable. They pulled a whole new cable. Then they put a jumper and pulled it up to the closet. Now, why would they do this? Well, this was a contractor that was obviously like trying to pad his bill, because as far as we could tell, the original coax is fine. I mean, I got to re-tip it and check it, but I seriously doubt the coax was having an issue. But he just went through and completely ran a new one just to add a little money to it so he could jack the people for a little bit more cash. So we're going to re-tip that right there and just leave it as is in case there's a need for it in the future. And then I'm going to see if I can pull it from the other side of where it comes out of this wall over here. And then we're going to add that 3-gang box up here like we're kind of doing in the living room. It's going to have the power coming out. And 4 Cat 6E, so one for the TV, one for the Apple TV, one for the dongle that runs the that we can look at the security system with, and one just for spare in case maybe we add some kind of gaming rig later on. But that means I got to repatch all these holes. I'm probably going to take this electrical box out. Oh, what they did was they basically came off of the one down here, right there, and then they tagged it up to here. And then we think they also put another leg off of it to here as well. I'll keep that leg. That leg's good. I can use that for, just general stuff. But the other one, I'm going to have to basically wall. So I'm going to have to do a lot more drywall work. Come in here and get this right from the get-go. And then bring it up here where it's actually centered on the bed, which is against the other wall between the two windows. And yeah, we'll see you later. Catch you after I do some more drywall work and some more electrical. Okay, so here's a little quick tip for you. If you ever have to patch a hole, take a couple paint sticks, break one in half, and then you got 2 pieces. Then you can screw one into the top and one at the bottom of the drywall, and then screw in your patch, and it's nice and stable. Then you can mud over it, and it looks good. So let's take a second and look at the finished product. So here you go. Doesn't that look a little better than it did before? So we've got our outlet in here. We got a USB-A and 2 USB-As and a USB-C. for plugging your USB devices into. Then we've got 4 Cat 6As and the Coax. That's done. I got to call myself out when I was mounting the box. I scraped the paint a little bit there, and then I scraped it a little bit there. So I got to do a little touch-up paint there, and then just a tad touch-up there. But in general, I'll put the before and then the after here. That looks really good. So we've got a TV plugged in here, and I got my Apple TV plugged in up here. So here's another little quick tip for you. Go out and get yourself some industrial Velcro, and maybe like 2.5 inches wide. It can't be regular Velcro. It's got to be like industrial heavy duty Velcro. And then you can Velcro your Apple TV right on the back of that. So let me push this back into place. Okay, there it is. I have pushed it back into place. I'm trying to get this lined up, but it's nice and level and centered. And I've got a nice angle toward the bed. So again, I'm not craning my neck, having to look up. That's because I mounted it higher. Then again, I wouldn't mount it nearly this high. And if I was like in a living room or a home theater, I would want it lower so it's eye level. But since you're laying down looking up, I didn't want to crane your neck. And then again, it's centered on the wall, so I'm not having to crane my neck and crane my neck to the right to look at the thing. I don't know why, again, that they mounted it like that, but it looks so much better. It's so much more functional. Really like it the way it is now. So on to the next piece of the puzzle. So if you remember last time, we had ripped this huge hole out and we were trying to figure out what to do. So again, we got the conduit all mounted, right? We got the HDMI set up from here that goes up to here, so that's done. There's the coax in there that's already pulled, and then we pulled these cables, and again, I got to terminate them. I just got them sitting in the wall right now. So I was sitting here talking and smoking with my friend, and he said, well, you know, what you've done right to now is awesome because of the fact that you can get to the cabling now. You can pull a new cable. In the future, which was the whole intention, he said, but you know, if you take these boxes off from the other side of the wall, which is the living room, the TV's up here, right up here, and then underneath the counters here, he said it's so much easier. He said, but you know, let's say in 15 years there's, you know, cat 15, cat 18, whatever it is at that point in time, right? He said you got to pull a new cable, so that means you got to pull the boxes off, and it's doable. He said, but why don't we leave the back of the thing open? And I'm like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? Because the whole idea was to get it accessible, be able to run conduit, run cat through the conduit without messing up the closet in the back. So doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? And he said, no. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, why don't we go to one of the big box stores that's right down the street and get some access panels. I'm like, what? And he said, have you ever seen these water access panels they put in houses? So if you want to get to like behind the shower, and I'm like, yeah. And then the light bulb clicked on, and it was a freaking absolutely brilliant idea. So we've come back in here and I finished putting this up. We've squared these boxes off. I've painted, and we're getting ready to do that. So what he was saying was, you have these, and I'm trying to kind of like balance a bunch of stuff with both hands, these water access panels, and you can get them in different sizes at the big box store, but basically they go in the frame just like this, and it's got a door on it that you can pull open later and access it. So just like this. And again, the cables are in the way, so they may give me a little bit of a hard time because I've got them balled up there. But anyway, you get the idea. Well, the cables are in the way. And yes, you'll see it. Once I get everything terminated, it'll be fine. But that is the access panel. So we can leave these access panels here. Yep, let's just drop it. and that way we can access it from either side. So through the magic of camera light, I'll be right now, through the magic of lighting and cameras, that is closed up, and that is closed up. I left the corner open so I could pop it open for you real quick, but this is what we did. It's just right there. So all the cables are now tied to their keystones. The keystones are in there. Yeah, I could have cleaned up the shielding for it a little bit, but it doesn't hurt anything, and it's working good. So now all we got to do is pop this on. And there we go. Nice, clean, neat, absolutely accessible, easy to get to. And now I can hang clothes there, and it's all good. So there you go. That's an idea for you. Talk to you later. Okay, so here we are in the living room. We have everything mounted and connected. So we've got our 4 Cat 6As. We got 3 HDMI ports, the Coax port. We got the pass-through here, and then the same thing with this outlet here. 2 outlets, 2 USB-As and a USB-C. And then over here we have the pass-through. This is where the center channel speaker came in for the Bose system. I'm probably going to do an episode just on audio for setting this up. I am not an audio guy by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. So after we got everything installed, I started doing a bunch of research on upgrading the system, and this is going to be kind of an interesting thing. So if you know anything about Bose or Sonos or any of these other companies, you've probably been screaming at me for a while about, you know, the Bose system was very proprietary and old. So I've made some decisions about what we're going to do here. And I think that'll make logical sense, but I'll do a whole different episode on that. But anyway, so this is how it looks now. I'll put up a picture of the original, how it looked before. And the after. Now, up under here, up under the cabinet, we have basically the same thing. So you can see the 2 conduits that we installed. Now, this is because I've got the camera kind of shoved up in here, but if you're even eye height with this, you don't even see it, which is perfect. But I've got my 4K player here. I've got an older UPS I had left over. The battery is going bad, and I found a replacement for it, and it just works perfectly for plugging in components. And that's a nice tip for you guys. You can find an older UPS, find a replacement battery for it, and it works fine. So, you know, there you go. On this side, I have my Apple TV, and then there's the other side of the UPS. And then this is a Lifestyle 2 from Bose, which connects the TV to the sound system. And again, I know some people are going to be yelling at me about how this old system is. So again, that's going to be a whole different episode. But everything's plugged up. Now, I do want to call out this hole here. I don't know if you remember, and I'll see if I can try to find a picture for you so you can take a look at it. If you remember, there used to be an old janky IR repeater in there that went up to behind this wall. And I'm actually going to get a decent, like, legit IR repeater, not something I kind of janked up. And then there was 3 coax cables back there. It actually went from this Bose Lifestyle 2 for component up into the wall and then to the TV. So all of those came out through here. Again, after I was doing research on the sound system, I figured out that they were not needed. So I connected the HDMI from here down to the one here bottom right, and then over to here. So that's what that is. But there you go. That is significantly better than the original, don't you think? In the next episode, I am going to go into the closet and show you what we've done in there. And because we're getting pretty close to being done with that closet, except for a couple of things. Hope you have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.